Alright, before we get started, I just wanted to mention that I may butcher some Japanese words and Japanese names, and there is no pun intended right there. So let's go balls deep into Food Wars. Let's get started. Shokugeki no Soma is written by Y2 Sakuda and illustrated by Shun Saiki. In 2012, it was published by Shueisha in the 52 issue of Shonen Jump magazine. Viz Media publishes the North American copy of the manga under the title Food Wars Shokugeki no Soma. However, Sakuda and Saiki created the initial iteration of the series in 2011 with their very first collaboration of making Shokugeki no Soma's one-shot manga. The one-shot debuted in Akamura Jump, and the plot is very similar to the main series we see today. It features Soma, Yukihira and the rival Erina and Akiri, who are the only characters from the one-shot to make it into the actual series. The format of the chapter also closely resembles the plot which main series was heading towards. However, there are some noticeable differences between the one-shot and the main series. Although Soma's one-shot version of himself is more or less the same, his hair is much shorter and is the color black rather than being dark red. Erina's character is also different to the canon series. In the one-shot manga, Erina is a lecturer in the Tatsuki Culinary Academy instead of a student. However, her tsundere personality and looks remain the same. Although Sakuda Senpai, the creator of the show, is mainly responsible for the plot and story of the manga, Yuki Morisaki, a famous chef and model, is the consultant for the series and provides much of the food dishes displayed throughout the manga, starting from chapter 5. In fact, she is also the author of the first official recipe book of Shokugeki no Soma, which was illustrated by Saiki. The book is called Tatsuki Academy Challenge Plate, Shokugeki no Soma Official Recipe Book. It was published and released by Shueisha on June 2015. This book contains recipes from the manga as well as the new ones inspired by some of the characters' cooking styles in Shokugeki no Soma. The book is in full color and also features an exclusive manga special, so if you guys are able to obtain it, then it will be definitely worthwhile. Who knows, you might be able to challenge one of your friends to a Shokugeki no Soma like we did in our parody video, which you can check out at the end of this video. The formation of some conceptions we see in Shokugeki no Soma is more of a four-way collaboration between the author Sakuda, the illustrator Saiki, the consultant chef Morisaki, and the editor Seijiro Nakamichi. In an interview with the editor Nakamichi, he was asked a question on how is Shokugeki no Soma actually made. In his own words, Nakamichi replied that Sakuda sensei and I are supposed to have meetings together so that Sakuda sensei can work out the story. But in reality, Saiki sensei came along, and when you add Morisaki sensei to the mix, that makes 4 people who come to the meetings. We all have different opinions and things we are picky about, so we get more ideas flowing when there are 3 or 4 of us. The schedule of weekly serialization is packed, so meetings up every week without fail is difficult, but we meet up and talk at least once a month about Shokugeki no Soma. He also went to further elaborate, when they all meet up to work on the story, they make up time to go over Saiki sensei's artwork, which doesn't happen usually with other mangas. Many of the ideas are formed by the 4, which ultimately gives the series more creativity to evolve. Even the idea of the director's speech and Soma declaring his challenge to the school to become the number 1 in the beginning of the series was a collaborative idea between the 4. In fact, the illustrator Saiki came up with Soma's big declaration, and the director's speech was based from a true story editor Nakamichi once heard himself. Many of the character names in Shokugeki no Soma represent the portrayal of the individual in a reflective way, as the meaning of their names denotes the characteristics they possess. For example, Soma's name using the kanji for creation, so, and true, ma, could mean true creation, a reflection of his boundless creativity. Furthermore, yukihira could roughly translate as blessing of the ordinary, a reflection of his humble origins compared to his peers. Megumi's name literally means grace or kindness, very much like her personality. Her name Todokoro, translating to farmland, is a reference to the Tohoku region reputation as being the warehouse of Japan, where Megumi is originally from. Erina is derived from Eleanor, which was a once very common name among women of high nobility. This could be seen reflecting Erina's status in the cooking industry. Her family name Nakiri, using the kanji for to mow down, na, and to cut, kiri, showing the competitive nature within her family. Likewise with her cousin Alice, which was derived from an old French name Alice and the old Germanic name Adele, meaning of nobility, reflecting on the fact that she is a member of the prestigious Nakiri family. Akumi's name is composed of the kanji for cultural progress or perfume. Her last name Mito is more likely a play on the English word of meat. Additionally, her nickname Nikumi is a combination of her name Akumi and the Japanese word Niku, meaning meat, and considering that she is the queen of all meat, the name is quite appropriate. The Aldini brothers' last name Aldini is common in the Florence region of Tuscany, Italy, and it means wise and experience, much like the two brothers as they have been working in their uncle's restaurant from day one. The title of Shokugeki no Soma spells Soma's name differently. The O in Soma's name is pronounced with an OU, making his name spelled as Souma. However, the title spells Soma's name as Soma without the U. The reasoning behind this is that Soma with the U is a romanization using the revised Hepburn system, while Soma without the U is romanization using the modified Hepburn system. The former is commonly used for teaching Japanese to foreigners and also in amateur translations, while the latter is the one most commonly used today. Shokugeki no Soma has some spin-off manga and light novels, but some of which are actually fall under being canon. For instance, Shokugeki no Soma Litolier in February 2015, a spin-off manga started. The storyline is written by Michiko Ito and illustrated by Taiki Asatoki, and although it isn't written by Tetsuda Sensei himself, it is still canon to the original storyline. The story features Kojiro Shinomiya as the main protagonist and focuses on both his life after Tatsuki Culinary Academy and the events after the training camp, so it's more like an improved prequel to our current story. Shokugeki no Soma has some other novels such as Ella Carte, I don't know if I pronounced that right, where on February 2014 a spin-off light novel series started under the same name. This series is also written by Ito but is illustrated by Saiki. The novel in this series is a collection of short stories which are canon on the main storyline and feature different characters as the focal point of each chapter. Lastly, another spin-off light novel series titled Shokugeki no Soma Fratelli Aldini began serialization on October 2015, and once again it is written by Ito, with illustrated by Saiki. The novel in this series focuses on the Aldini twins that we all know, and Takumi Aldini and Asami Aldini, and it's a pretty good backstory and is definitely worth a read if you want to understand their characters. Did you guys know that there isn't an actual cooking game of Shokugeki no Soma? It's called Shokugeki no Soma Saikyo no Recipe, and obviously it's gonna be called something like that, which is a smartphone game published by Bandai Namco Entertainment and is based on the actual series. And before you guys go looking for it right now on your iOS, unfortunately it's only on the Japanese iTunes store and Android store from August 17, 2015. However, although this game revolves around cooking, the game is actually developed with a rhythm style mechanics. You have to tap and swipe in the correct order to fulfill the cooking orders. You're given points based on both your accuracy and speed while you're completing meals for the guests. Another game called Shokugeki no Soma, The Dish of Friendship and Bonds, was released for Nintendo 3DS on December 2015. It is a visual novel game developed by Furyu and published by Bandai Namco Entertainment. Like most visual novels, the game requires very little interaction, as most of the duration of the game is spent on reading the text that appears on the screen, representing dialogue between the various characters or the thoughts of the protagonist. This game is pretty an exclusive story based in Europe, while characters from the series interact amongst each other. The characters are also voiced by the respective voice actors from the anime. Although Tetsuda and Saiki Senpai didn't really mention any specific influences for Shokugeki no Soma, it is possible that the drawing style for Soma was inspired by Tadahiro Miura's artwork, as he is the illustrator for Koei-Sami Momiji and other various mangas. Saiki has mentioned he sees Miura as an ideal manga artist. There is also a slight artistic similarity between Soma and Momiji. In the terms of the story conception, there isn't anything specific that inspired Shokugeki no Soma. However, there have been many mangas and anime revolved around food and competition. For example, Yakitate Japan, although it is specifically about bread, it still has a very similar theme, including scenes of the outer body experiences when eating food and having a foodgasm. Other similar mangas include Yomiuri Patisserie, Addicted to Curry, and Hell's Kitchen, which have similar storylines if you want to see another anime that is similar to Food Wars. In the first episode of Food Wars, Soma creates a meat dish from potatoes and cuts of bacon after his restaurant's fridge is ransacked. In the second episode, he attempts to win over Erina Nakiri's god tongue with an egg, chicken and aspic dish called Transforming Furikake Gohan. While the animation and music producer Noriko Dohi attempted to recreate both dishes, and they ended up looking pretty delicious. For the first dish, called Nanchate roast pork, Dohi commented that it had plenty of umami flavor. Dohi wrote that she wasn't sure if it was prepared properly since it was made based on what was shown in the episode. The second dish has a printed recipe. You can find it in the back of Viz Media's release of the first manga volume in English if you want to try it out for yourself. Dohi's attempt was creamy, fluffy and a vivid yellow. Okay guys, now that season 2 has been announced, some of you might want to know more information on any other content related to the series. Well, on March 2015, a bonus drama CD titled Shokugeki no Soma Drama CD, The Daily Life at Totsuki Academy and Other Happenings, was bundled with the limited edition of Volume 11 release of the manga. This audiobook is recorded by the main cast of the anime. It contains 3 individual stories written by Tetsuda that take place after the Tatsuki Friendship and Rapport training camp, and also contain an extra 4th track. Anyway guys, that's the end of the video. I hope you learned something about Food Wars that you didn't know beforehand, and make sure you hit the like button and share it with anyone you think that may enjoy it. We did a parody ourselves and it was pretty hilarious for us to film, and you can check that video out in the link in the description and on the annotation. Anyway, we're covering Ronoro Zoro next, and it's a One Piece 10 things you didn't know. And then we are releasing a few skip videos and they're hilarious, and I hope you guys check them out. We are doing 10 things anime fans do in real life, and I'll check you guys in the next video. Woo! Yo, we find out what anime personality do you have in this fucking brain. Let's get started, bro. What type of person